Hi, everyone. Sheryl Hickerson at Females in Finance. Once again, not even a fair podcast interview because my friend Juli McNeely is here. And I have to tell you something. Maybe you do know this. Did you know that I remember the moment that I can close my eyes. If you're watching me on YouTube, it's one thing, but I can remember you sitting down next to me in Chicago at the hotel where we had the event, women's event. And you said to me, you you should do something about this and create something. And I was like, I think it's that little bit of confidence you instilled in me in that moment that I kind of needed to, just because I'd been already talking to some people about how do we get a collective, a collaboration, a community together. And it was just that little bit of vote of confidence for you. And I feel like this is something you're so good at. We're going to talk about today, but it was just like you just like dropped that little bit of just confidence in me. And then you just moseyed about your way, because I don't know if anybody's ever watched Juli McNeely at an event. You just watch the group of women move about the entire conference. I guarantee Juli McNeely's in the center of it. That's how I think about you.
You're very sweet. Thank you, my dear.
No, tell the
That was
truth.
a great conversation. I remember that day very
Do
well.
you?
Of course.
Okay. So for people watching right now, I took a picture of that moment. And
Ah,
and if you can see, there's a pinhole here on YouTube because it's pinned above me. So I look at you every day. Is that
aw.
weird?
That was when I was wearing glasses even.
Yeah.
That
So
was
is
a while
that
ago.
weird? But I
No,
remember that was how important that day was for me. That I remember taking a selfie with you. And I thought, I wonder if I could. What if I did this? Possibility. You instill possibility in people.
well, fantastic. I
Yeah.
love that. That makes my heart happy.
Did it? Oh, yeah. It's kind of one of those weird moments where you're just in like kismet. I call that being kismet, just like right in the exact moment. And I even remember, like, right after that was done, like, was it Diane Boyle came rocking by, and I was like, hi. And then you went off with, like I said, you have an entourage. People just go, they catch on like barnacles to the Julie, and off they go. You do. You have your own posse of people. It's kind of impressive. I was like, I want to be like her when I grow up. And so it kind
Oh,
of, yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I know some of your background. You're a second generation advisor. You work with your dad, if I recall
mhm.
correctly. I
Yes.
know you introduced Katie Kimball to me from Gateway
Yeah.
Financial, and I've been her mentor of hers for a while, as well as you have, and she's delightful, and she's also second generation. So I think there's a lot of people who go second generation. I'd love for you to talk just a snippet of time about why do you still do this work? I know you do the work, but why still do the work? Because you've been very successful. And for those, I encourage you to go follow her work and connect with her. She's a huge connector as well. NAIFA's first female president, so it was a very big deal for so many of us in that space to see a woman at the helm. Which I'm going to talk about that in a second. But why continue to still do this work?
Well, I think for me, Cheryl, I think anyone could probably be a financial advisor, but to do it for almost 30 years now,
Yeah.
um, it became part of me. It became really deeply instilled in who I am as a person. And so for me, the helping of individuals and couples and business owners, it really is what drives you every day. So, I mean, you can recommend products and you can talk about taxation and regulation and changes in the way that we all plan for our financial futures. But when you dive deep with your client and you become connected to them in a incredible way, it just becomes part of who you are. And so I don't think I would want to do this business as a financial planner if I didn't have those kinds of deep relationships. I could not be a transactional planner
Yeah.
ever. So for me, it was deep, long-term relationships that I've had with my clients, and then even second and third generation of our clients, because my dad started and I might have taken over, and now we're on the third generation, hired younger advisors into my firm to help with that next generation so they can connect. So for me, it's really about those deep relationships that keeps me going every day, and it doesn't feel like work when it's deep and quality like it is.
Yeah. And I think that's really important. One thing that we've had a discussion lightly, and we're actually going to have a deep dive in females of finance about this idea of entrepreneurship, and then there's what I call forced entrepreneurship. And although you chose an entrepreneurial route because you had somebody there to mentor you and kind of, get you through the ropes, and then you kind of came in, made it your own. And I
Mhm.
and I love, by the way, for those of you who have been following here a while, I mean, it's one thing your first website, your new website is like so clean and beautiful, very
Mhm.
Julie, that
Mhm.
website is now. And, I'm really concerned today because you talked about bringing in new talent. I think that there is this thing in financial services today that you have to go out there and start your own firm. You have to go out there and be this, whatever. You've got to go. And I have to say, especially somebody as with me being on the trusted back side of the conversations where they come to me and they say, I just want to do the work. I don't want to have to run the company. Just want to do the work. It's organizations like yours who are like, yes, that is totally fine. And you can be a wealth manager, financial advisor, financial planner inside of a firm. And you don't have to go into this forced entrepreneurship route. And I've watched you actually mentor women through, you've got a consulting business as well as your financial advisor practice. So you also consult and coach financial advisors. And I've
Mhm.
seen you actually give advice about that entrepreneurship versus the forced entrepreneurship route and helping people make choices. That's a real one for women, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think if you're a young advisor or someone who's looking to break into financial services, if you can find a firm where the culture fits for you, you don't need to go recreate the wheel.
Yeah.
You can become part of that culture. And I'll never forget a conversation my father had with me very early on in my career when I was actually questioning whether or not I wanted to continue because it just didn't feel like it was clicking. It was in that first 3 years. And I remember him looking at me and saying, Jules, because he calls me Jules, Jules, there's a gold mine here. And I talk about this in my book, but it is that conversation, like that gold mine, I call it my gold mine conversation. I didn't realize that there was such an opportunity to be part of his firm that it didn't occur to me that I didn't have to really work that hard to grow this business into something really incredible. And it wasn't financial gold mine, it was relational gold mine. And, the financial side came,
Yes.
but that relational gold mine came for me. And I feel like that for younger advisors too. Like if you can join a firm where the culture fits for you, there's a gold mine. There are going to be hundreds, thousands of financial planners and advisors retiring, and their firms need new young advisors to step in and take that gold mine to that next level. And to me, the opportunity is incredibly great. And if I were someone brand new, I wouldn't put my own shingle up. I'd find a firm that I feel I fit into and I would help build the new gold mine.
Yeah. And because of that, so you wrote this book in 2016, The No Necktie Needed, and I have read it several times because you can see it's kind of tattered, and I've got things marked in it all throughout the book that I will
Mhm.
refer to with new advisors. And you wrote me this lovely note that I still keep. I'm one of those people that keep stuff. So when you write this stuff, it's important. Okay. And so I
Yeah,
kept that. And you know what? I'm just to give you an idea and shed some light on what Julie just said. So she had no idea I was going to pull this up. I don't tell these people anything I'm saying because you all are planners. You want to plan everything. And so now
yeah.
I just kind of say, we're going to wing it. And we're going to go. But I'm just going to give you an idea in this book. So if you're a new advisor or relatively new, or you're next generation and you're coming into it and you're just like, oh, I just got to find myself in this book, I don't care that was written 8 years ago, still relevant today, should be sitting like it was on mine, on my little, and I have a very chosen set of books here, trust me. And it still sits here today. And I still refer to this book when I talk to new advisors. But I want to give an idea of some things that she just said randomly that I have underlined from years and years of this. Financial services is a career that offers great flexibility. It's true. I'm a single mom when I started in financial services, and this job gave me exactly what I needed it to do. I needed to be able to be a mom, but I also need to make money, and I needed to be able to, come in when I needed to after, dropping my son off at school, being able to, within reason, go home at night. I mean, some of my jobs were very 9 to 5. I say ish. Even ish was not available if you think about it, mostly for the 80s and 90s. But I had ish because of financial services, so I could say I'll be in about 8:15 ish, and then all
Mhm.
right, nobody thought about twice. If you tried to do it any other job, we would have been like, you're getting written up, and financial services allows it. The other thing too that I love that you wrote is you've got a lot, and you've got a lot of like little nuggets of these funds for thought, these little things for you to take inventory of your life, of what you're doing. Women need to understand that they deserve to be at the table. I can do a whole entire podcast on just that. Literally every single one of these is, I think that you need to read the book, but I think you need to connect with you, because you connect with people, and it's very easy reading. I mean,
Oh
friends,
yeah.
you can sit down after, well, someone's watching a television program you don't like, and you can breeze through this book, because you wrote it like you said it. Like, it's so interesting because we know each other so well that when I read the book, I could literally hear your voice is so calming and mine is not. Okay, you sound very like, let's relax, and I'm always like, hey, let's go jump off a cliff. So we're just very different in our delivery in that, right? But I can literally hear your voice. Have you ever done like a voice, like where you read the book to someone?
I have, well, it is on Audible, but
It
it
is
wasn't
okay.
voice. I hired a voice actor because I just didn't have time to do the read. But I have read it out loud. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It's one of those things. You're very common, but I do think the no necktie needed book should be a standard, especially for any advisors also listening to this that has the desire to hire new people, and you're looking for training, or you're looking for, because let's be really honest together on this call. Advisors, for the most part, probably shouldn't be training other people, because their greatness is meeting with the clients, and they want to
Yeah.
expand the business, but they really need to have coaching available to their junior staff. Talk on that a little bit, because I think this is an area you have a lot of expertise in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it takes a special talent to become a junior advisor and find success. I remember my dad and I just had very different styles. And I'm telling you, it wasn't until I figured out I could do it my way that I really loved what I did, because the way he did it didn't feel comfortable to me at all. But that's how he was training me. So if you're listening to this and you're saying, gosh, they want me to do it this way, but it just doesn't feel right, then question it. Just question it. Like, I don't know that too many trainers are going to say, "Oh, absolutely not. You can't do it that way. You have to do it the way I'm training you." If it feels right to explain to a client in a different way because it feels more comfortable to you, it's going to become more natural. Your client's going to respond to it. So I think from my perspective, we all need to push back a little bit
Yeah,
on the old way of training in this industry. Because let's be honest, it doesn't work for everyone. And it certainly doesn't work if you're being trained the way a male advisor would do it.
exactly.
And as a female, you just feel more comfortable doing it differently. And you push back a little bit. I mean, what are they going to do? Fire you? And if they do,
Yeah,
that's not the right culture for you. So to me, that pushback is not a bad thing. It's very healthy and needs to
yeah.
be done.
I think one thing that I would love seeing done in like an in-person training, because I think I'm really good about analogies, and I'm really good at like real life examples of people seeing something going, oh yeah, this is what they're talking about. I feel like there should be a training event, and as people walk in, there's a pair of shoes in front of them, just random shoes all up and down the thing. And then you tell the person, oh, you're going to run this company. Could you please put those shoes on from the person before you and wear them, and have them actually get up and try to walk in them? It's ridiculous. They're
Mhm.
uncomfortable, or they're too big, they're too small, they're too high heeled, they're hurting they hurt. They don't feel good, right? They're not your shoes. You're
Yeah.
not supposed to walk in
Let
those
it
shoes.
go. Let it go. Yeah.
Let it go. That's right. And then
Yeah.
give them a place to go and recycle the shoe, because they did provide value to
Sure. For
walk
sure.
and get somebody there, but it's time to put on a new set of shoes and keep walking, and put those on. I do think that perspective is really important, because I feel like I hear behind the scenes a lot of women say, well, they want me to do this. I'm like, how do you feel about that? I always
Mhm.
ask them, what does your gut tell you? Women have this amazing intuition that they don't. it's put into us for a variety of reasons, whether someone's, I always call it in Gus, you trust God, universe, spirit. I believe there's something bigger than all of us that's put things inside of us that say, I'm going to give you some greatness that's yours. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Julie's got hers and somebody else does. When things feel off and awry inside of our body, I think women are really attuned to that. And yet we don't listen to it.
Mhm.
I'm just going to put that aside.
Yeah.
No, that's literally Gus handing you like the oar to the boat going, you need to row. Like something's not right when you're trying to get you out. Do you, when you're working with clients or advisors, let's talk about advisors specifically in this space, you must probably talk a lot about mindset and
Oh,
change
yeah.
habits and stuff like that. Talk a little bit about
Oh,
that.
yeah. Yeah, I think when I'm coaching,
Yeah.
that's where we spend a lot of time is, are you doing the things that you really should be doing? We talk about time blocking, we talk about what are your strengths. Um, Again, I could go back to when I started, I tried to do everything for everyone, and I was miserable. And when I started to whittle down like what I really loved to do, my day didn't feel like work anymore, right?
Yeah.
So, I hired to my weaknesses. I've got a great team of people. I couldn't do what I do without a great team of people, and I trust them, I rely on them, and we have each other's back through everything, and if they're really good at what I'm not good at, man, what a dynamic team we are, and I don't want to hire someone who's exactly like me. I want to hire someone who brings something different to the table. And then I want to show them what I know so that someday I can go away and they can keep running the business at, at an even better success rate. So to me, I think the habits that you start with are really critical. The sooner you can realize you can't do it all,
Yeah.
the better. And then hire to those weaknesses because, I mean, let's face it, paperwork has to be done. It is not my favorite
Yeah.
thing by any means, but I got a great person on my team who loves to do paperwork. I think she has her moments too where she doesn't like it much either, but thank God she's at least okay doing it because I cannot do it. I'm not good at it. And
Yeah.
I know that about myself. So I think those habits you build early on in your career are really critical.
I love that. I love that. Hard to your weaknesses. So I feel like this is the Julie show and tell show because I have one more thing that we actually use in the Hickerson household that you sent me.
Oh,
And okay, Daryl, if you're watching this, I did go take it out of your office.
oh, yes.
Look at you. So I want to talk about legacy footprint because if you're listening to this, you can't see, I'm visually picking up a big plastic thing here. It's not like that big, actually. It's pretty small. But I want to address something right off the bat because I had somebody, a friend of mine came to the house and this was sitting on our dining room. It's a true story. I'm not making this up. And he walked in and he's like, what is that? And I said, well, my girlfriend, I said, she started a business and it's about organizing your documents and things like that. And, one of the conversation came up about, well, electronic records and all this stuff. We're going to talk about that for a second. First of
Yeah.
all, I live in rural Missouri. Okay. If I go over to my in-laws house and I said, hey, let's start an electronic vault, I can hear Wayne Hickerson say to me, Ewan's doing that, I'm not doing that. Exactly. So we still have a very big chunk of America today who are holding on to papers for a variety of reasons, good and bad. I don't care. Okay. But let's just address it and have a place for them to put said papers. Now, this beautiful, wonderful husband of mine, he is even though he's younger than I am, wants to, and I say that with pride, by the way, he is
Yeah.
younger than I am. He likes his papers. There's something about the tangible part of pulling that out. I got that receipt. It's right here. Okay. I think it's because we all grew up during People's Court and Judge Wapner was like, you got your paperwork and I'll be back with my decision. He wants to be able to pull that out and be it's right here. So talk a little bit what led you to do, because I have to tell you, when tax time came, y'all watching this was the Hickerson savior. Okay. This is things full. I mean, it's full of stuff. Talk about legacy footprint for a little bit.
Yeah. It came about because every year in my firm, we set a theme for the year. And back in 2018, I believe it was 2018. Yeah, that was the first year we did it, the theme. Um, we decided that we needed to do a better job of helping our clients get organized.
Okay.
So we began a process of just starting to think about what needed to be included in an organization system. And so we just started to build it. And then we started giving it out to our clients,
It's
and the
amazing,
response
everybody, just so you can
was
see.
amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
He kept all the papers.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Mm.
it's it's got things in there. I mean, it'd be great if everybody wanted to put their stuff in the cloud, but then you need to know the passwords. Who knows the
Yeah.
password besides you? So that's partly why we did the paper. But regardless, what we wanted was a system that if the person who pays the bills is no longer, they're incapacitated or they pass away, another person could pick up that system and know exactly what to do.
Oh, it's
If both
so,
on,
by the way, it's so easy. It's so user friendly. Like it's
yeah.
very intuitive.
Well, and we had a client whose husband passed. He paid all the bills. She had no idea what to do. She came in tears with her checkbook and a bunch of bills, and she didn't even know what to do next. So we sat down with her, helped her figure it out. And I said, we can never let this happen again. So that's kind of what started the conversation about it. The other thing that we really wanted is if something happened to both mom and dad,
Yeah.
we wanted the kids to be able to say, okay, mom told me if something ever happened to us, go in the master bedroom closet and there's a box and everything I need is in that box. And we've had that happen. I had a client who he passed away. He was the financial manager in the house. Mom had Alzheimer's. She had no
Mm,
idea what was going on.
mm.
Son-in-law was power of attorney. He had to come in and he picked up this box and he went, "Oh my God, everything is here. I know exactly what to do to pay the bills, to, manage mom's assets for her, to figure out how to pay for her care because they had to move her to a care facility." There were 6 children in that family, and all 6 became our clients because we helped mom and dad get organized. And they went, "We need to do the same thing for our kids."
Yeah.
So to me, the wealth that's gonna pass to the next generation is huge. And why, when our children and our grandchildren are going to be grieving the loss of their parent or grandparent, why do we let them be in the dark on how to manage the finances? So we have a job, we have an obligation to help that be an easier transition. And so it became something we did for our clients. And then we were like, wait a minute, more people could use this. So now we have, the legacyfootprint.net. You can go get it. You can order them for your clients. You can brand it to your firm. You can order the Legacy Footprint brand. But it's been a great thing for our clients. And we're really glad we took the time to put something together that really just helps them get organized.
Yeah. And I'll make certain during for the podcast follow up that we have links to all of that so people can go out and just interestingly enough for us, a couple of things. One was so we have like a big safe, like we
Mhm.
get it. I mean, we got like, well, we're from Missouri. We got guns, we got things like that are in it. Okay. So don't send me hate mail because I own the company and I'll just ignore them anyway. So it's just keeping it real. But the other thing is that we keep that. So Daryl goes and, the safe, opens it up, takes it out and puts it in there. Now, what I do like about it is even if your intention is to move things into a cloud or electronic vault, this is
Yeah,
a wonderful way for people to start to organize because organization does not come naturally to everybody.
totally.
And I remember one time I was in an advisor's office in Nebraska. I'll never forget this. His name is Jason. And I was in his office doing a sales call because I worked for a very large IMO, which back in the time. And I watched a woman walk in. I don't even have a box that represent the
Uh-huh.
papers. And she walked in, she set like a banker's box, let's say, and she set it on top of the thing. And I said, "Oh, and I was standing in front of her. I said, "Oh, please go ahead, And she's like, "Thank you." She's like, and she said to Jason's office, colleague, "I need Jason. This is the papers." And she was very polite and said, "No problem." And then they were taking time to sift through that. And this was years ago before you built this. If you'd had something like this that you could just send out to someone
Yep.
and just say, do your best job and put it where you think is, because I promise you, friends, it's very intuitive. my husband's not of financial services. Okay. And he was able to very quickly figure out, like, oh, this is what I was here. Okay. And we were able to put the important stuff in this
Yep,
thing. And then he found out a lot of this other stuff is just not important. And he was
right.
able to start when we met with it, like, let it go. So we will make certain advisors have access to being able to learn more about how to get that. As we get to wrapping on this, I'm really curious what you have. Do you have some ideas of what your thoughts are of like some trends in financial services and planning today that you're seeing ahead? Like advisors should be paying attention to this or they should be paying attention to that.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to share.
Well, I think I kind of alluded to this earlier, and really the legacy footprint does as well. But as advisors, I think we have to have new and different ways of serving our clients. It's not just about products, it's about serving them fully. So, things like helping them get organized is an example. I think deeper conversations about if you're truly personally ready for retirement. So, not just financially ready, but are you personally ready? And as advisors, we can have those conversations. We've developed kind of a system that we take our clients through. Another great example is a long-term care plan, not just selling them a product, but talking to them about what are your wishes? Like, what if all of your kids live across the country from you and you need to go into a facility?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if you had in writing, like, hey, I'm willing to move closer to my daughter and be in a facility near her so that it makes it easier for her to be to visit me and to be managing my care. If you say, "Hey, just put me in a facility here in the town I live in," I would like to know that as your child. So
Yeah.
it is less about just product anymore. I think it's more about the whole person. It's the whole life of your client. And I think as advisors, if we can continue to innovate and come up with new ways of really helping our client anticipate their needs fully, we're going to be cemented as their advisor forever, and not only them, but their children.
The
Because
legacy part. Yeah.
it's a legacy plan. It's not just a financial plan. So I think that's the trend I'm seeing, and that's the trend in our firm that we're really trying to focus on is going beyond that. One of my new advisors developing a college graduate's guide so that when a child or a grandchild's graduating from high school or college, mom and dad can say, hey, I'm going to put you in this little mastermind and they're going to teach you about financial literacy because they're not learning it in school. So my new advisor's writing this and she's going to develop it
Love it.
and and get it out there. So however we can serve our clients more fully in a legacy plan, I think that's the trend I'm seeing happen.
Love it. I love it. Well, I asked you this before we got on because I want to be able to rap, but what's your walk on stage song? I I know what it is. So I'm trying
Well,
to say it,
Katy
but
Perry Firework. I mean, I'm
one of
not
my
done
favorite. If you
blowing things up.
it's on our Hall of Fame Power playlist. That song is because it's one of my favorites. Because there's no way you can feel bad listening to yours. Like, you know,
Right, right.
but this has been such a delicious time for me to be able to spend. Just you're just such a giving, big-hearted person, and I'm grateful that you are. I'm grateful to be alive during a time that Julie McNeely is an advisor in financial services, and I get to learn.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. I feel the same
I
about
mean
you.
that.
Thanks for all you do for all of us as well.
Of course, of course, of course. We'll make certain we have all the links so we can get some people introduced to you. And please check out some of the stuff she's working on. Get her book. Check out that legacy footprint. We use it here at the Hickerson household. I mean, it's religious. I have to go put it back as Daryl. I will put it back. Yeah, it's just one of those things that's become synonymous with us putting our stuff together. But please know I just appreciate you so very much in this time today. Thank you for this.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Absolutely.